AJ.
Hey, I'm recording. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing really well. Nice to finally meet you. I've been hearing you for a while now, and now it's crazy. You're talking to me.
Oh yeah. No, it's good to finally meet.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for doing the podcast. I appreciate you. Um, I found you through Anchor. I had to have. I don't know how. I don't know if that's like a recommendation thing, but I had to. And you know what got me was a logo.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's what got me. And I just started listening because I joined Anchor, and then I started doing the same thing you do with
hmm
the advertisements,
hmm
and that's something that is it's crazy. Anchor unites people. That's cool.
Oh yeah. That's really cool. I started Anchor probably like on Anchor. I would say like 5 years ago, and as my podcast itself has been, it was supposed to be mostly like fantasy football related, but now I'm kind of like trying new things and just kind of putting stuff out there that like creatively I want to do. And but I definitely enjoy Anchor. I try to now with football season, I do try to do like a podcast a week during the football season, just like recap and like give my fantasy takes. But yeah, it's great. I recommend Anchor to anyone who wants to like start a podcast.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have questions here. So if I'm looking at my phone, don't think I'm being rude. I'm actually have
Oh
a
no,
bunch of
you're good.
questions written out. So you said you started 5 years ago. When was it always called Sounds Like Sam?
It was, yeah, that was like the first one of the first names I thought of, and I was like, wow, that kind of clicks. Like, and it kind of shows me, or like shows at least the audience, because I feel like I have a distinctive voice too. Like it's kind of monotone, kind of like people who know me like would recognize my voice. So I was like, that sounds like a good name, and I feel like too like socially I'm a little bit more reserved, so it was also kind of like, oh, he's like, there's his voice. That's what he sounds like. And
That's what he sounds like. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So you started, you said 5 years ago. So where did you find out about Anchor?
I think I was just because I was interested in podcasting, and I don't really know why. I think for me it was just um a way to get my opinions out there, because I just always like enjoyed talking about fantasy football, and I never like, I don't know it. I just wanted an outlet for myself to like to speak on my opinions, and I was looking online through like Google, and it was one of the first that popped up, and it just seemed really user friendly, and that's really why I started. It was because it was like, oh, it's free to use. You can and then using, and then like the user friendliness was definitely something for me that I really liked about it. And I know there's other podcasting platforms, but I like that it was able to at least put my stuff out there, and I was able to like link up with Spotify and Apple Music. So it was pretty cool in that sense. It's been easy for me for Anchor because literally for a while I was I was literally recording through video, and then I was just um like just taking the video from my laptop and then just dropping it in to Anchor, and that was just a super easy way for me to uh put my recordings out there, and I didn't really have like, it would literally take the audio from the video and upload it as a podcast. So when I didn't have time to edit, that was really easy for me. But yeah, they're definitely different layouts, like desktop versus phone, and I ended up using my phone a lot, especially look at like the stats from Anchor. I think that's like really cool, and it is a good way to like use it on the phone. But I definitely have been using the desktop more recently.
Okay. Yeah. And then one of the things I started following you on Instagram, and your videos, your short videos are really funny, and they're a really, I would say, really good way to promote your podcast. And I feel like I want to kind of do stuff like that, but I don't want to like take people's ideas, but at the same time, maybe like, like pay a tribute. I don't know. I
Mhm.
just feel like you've you're, and then you don't just react to sports things. Your podcast sounds like, Sam, is a fantasy football podcast, but you do on your Instagram go into other, you show other, I think I saw one of you reacting to like somebody like skateboarding or something.
Mhm.
Someone was like some extreme sport, and you were just reacting to it. And I like that. That's a pretty clever way to promote your podcasts. But so in your podcast, I've been listening to them. You've mentioned that you're in school, and you had time to sometimes you wouldn't upload as much as you wanted to because you had school. So what are you studying? Are you in, or how, I don't even know like what you're doing right now. Like otherwise, are you in school? You were in school, right?
I was in school actually. Like when I started Sounds Like Sam, I really started it like my I think sophomore year of I was in community college at the time and I started it, but then I started like doing it more heavily during when I transferred to UCSB. I would try to do it like uh maybe a couple episodes here and there, but it wasn't until I graduated from UCSB in 2020, and I've really just been uh, out working. I worked for the Rams for a little bit as an intern. Am now I actually do I work at an e-commerce wholesale golf apparel shop at it's called Straight Down. So I do that Monday through Friday. Uh, but it's been a little bit difficult just to like, oh, you're working all day and then like you come back and you're like, man, I just want to like sit down and relax, and then it's just hard to find the time sometimes. But uh it's
Definitely.
been good. Like I try, my goal is every Monday at least now to get a podcast out there. But yeah, I now I'm working, and I feel like Sounds Like Sam itself is like, it's definitely something that I'm trying to build, but it's a process. And I try to and that's like the reason I started that Instagram, was to mostly like, it was supposed to be all podcast promotion, and then I started just getting into like random videos of me like watching, like reacting to the things.
It's
Uh
clever, man. It's clever. I like it.
and so I at least it draws attention to my page. And sometimes I'll put in like a link in bio, but I need to do a better job of actually like putting my content out there on it. But like, yeah, right now I try to do like, that's kind of a free creative platform for me. Like I don't do as much fantasy football talk on there as I do. Like I have another account called Bullseye Fantasy. That's like my fantasy football account. But yeah, I definitely try to like just hit a little bit of everything, whatever I'm feeling. If I find like a video that's like really crazy, then I'll probably try to react to it. And
That's
uh
cool. That's
yeah,
cool. So you graduated. What were you studying?
I studied communication, but at UCSB, it's more of it's a research university, so it's not like, you know, oral speaking, or what it like, what do you call it, um like speech, or it was more just very research heavy, and doing a lot of research projects, a lot of yeah, tests on theories, and which is cool. I actually really enjoyed it, but it wasn't super like applicable to, I think, or at least I didn't like use it at the time to be applicable to like things that I was interested in, like media and communication. But I thought it was interesting, and it was definitely very broad, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I enjoyed writing at the time, and I thought that was a good way for me to uh, at least find like a middle ground.
That's really cool. I did not know. Um, I did not know at all that you were from California. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it was a Tree Man episode.
Oh yeah.
I felt like you were like in the South somewhere. I don't know why I thought that.
No, no, you're right. I was in the South. My uncle owns a he has a tree trimming business, and he mostly trims trees down in New Orleans, or what's the other? It's the Beau Rivage. It's a casino in Mississippi, and after I my internship ended with the Rams, I didn't really have any work going on, and he was like, "Hey, you want to come down and cut trees with me?" And I needed an assistant, and
Oh,
I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go." And uh,
that's
I literally
crazy.
was down there for like a month, and we just trimmed trees, and I would just I was more like leaf collector guy, but it was fun. We got to stay in the Beau Rivage hotel for free for like 3 weeks, and we they let us like eat all their restaurants for free and get like employee dining, and so it was a pretty sweet deal, honestly. And
That's awesome.
but it was fun, and I like my uncle, and uh yeah, we get along well, and it was fun hanging out with him, and it was good to have him on the show. 'Cause he's not really a sports guy either, but he had some interesting sports stories that were interesting to share.
That's crazy. I did not know that. Yeah, I guess that's a bad episode for me to start with, huh? Because I thought you were from the South. I'm like, that's why when we were texting and you're like San Luis Obispo, I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know.
Threw
I
me
and
off.
I just recently moved here, but the South connect. I technically do have a South connection. My mom's from New Orleans, and that's her brother, and he lives down there and in California. So he lives in actually San Diego too. So
Oh, wow.
uh, well, I worked for the Padres actually because I was really interested in sports.
Really?
Yeah, so I worked there for a month or two. Uh, last in 2021, I worked for the Padres as a premium seat host. So
What's that?
it's like do you know what's it called, the home place, the home base club area, or like any of their terrace club suites? I was basically like a ticket checker for them. So I would basically, anybody who was coming up to the premium areas, I'd be like, "Could I see your ticket?" And I was kind of like security, but like not. I was like person who would go get security if like there
Right.
were any issues, or like I'd be like, "Hey,"
Right.
just
Wow.
directing people and to their seating locations, and uh, that's kind of how I got my start in like professional sports, and I feel like I'm still interested in it, and I'll probably try to go back to it. But yeah, that's at the time I was working for the Padres, and I actually lived with my uncle and aunt who lived down there in La Jolla, and and when I wasn't working Padres games, I was working at my aunt's marketing firm. So it was really cool. It was a really great 2 months being there, and it was definitely a cool experience. But I love working for the Padres. Like that was one of like the best uh experience, like jobs I've had. That was just like, oh, you just basically go watch the games, help out people sometimes, but it was really chill, and I enjoyed working with everybody. And uh, when I ended up getting the Rams internship like a month after I started, and I was actually contemplating like leaving, or actually staying with the Padres, because I was like, man, I kind of want to ride this out because I can maybe like get something full time soon. But I was like, yeah, I can't pass up football. Like I love
Right.
football too much. Like can't pass up that opportunity. And with them, I was like a ticketing intern, so kind of the two positions like related to each other. And uh, yeah, that was a good experience as well.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. So, do you know a lot about football, baseball, or like hockey and stuff like that?
I don't know much about hockey. I mean, I'm like a Pirate Steeler fan, so Penguins is still in there. Like I'm a fan of them, but I don't really know much about hockey other than like I think Sidney Crosby's. I don't even know if he's still. I think he's still playing, but
I don't know either. But
yeah,
so no baseball.
Not much baseball, but I do follow it a little bit. This has been like the probably the most. Actually, that's not true. Probably when I was on the Padres was the most I kept up to date with baseball because like I was literally like watching every home game there, but and I would try to keep up with the Padres like when they were away, but other than that, I like football is my main focus and I don't even really do much basketball either, but I'll watch now and then.
I like how you're able to give objective like views on football. Like you're able to say, this team's not doing well, this team's doing well. Like you gave the Jets some credit recently. Or what was it? Yeah, you gave the Jets recently because you were talking about how they're playing well this season. They're
Mhm.
and what originally I've heard you in other podcasts say that they're not a good team.
Yeah.
So you kind of you give people credit. You're being honest. You're giving objective views on sports. So that was my question: is what is your favorite team? And you said it was the Pirates,
It's my favorite football team is the Steelers.
Steelers. Okay,
And my favorite baseball team is the Pirates, but San Diego's next best for
okay,
me.
okay. Steelers. So you're a Steelers fan. That's crazy. So
Mhm.
because I hear you talk about them, and then I heard you talk about the Chargers because Chargers used to be a San Diego team. Now they're an LA team, and
Mhm.
that was a big thing down here when it happened. Everyone was so upset. People
Oh
had
yeah.
people were getting tattoos removed, and
Yeah,
it
I
was
know that.
crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy, and the fact that they moved to LA, and I mean, I feel like their base is growing, but like it sucks for them because their team is they actually have a legit good team this year, and they're I mean I guess they're doing okay, but uh yeah, it sucks for the fans because like they had such a strong fan base in San Diego, and then they leave, and then everybody from San Diego is like, I like screw the Chargers, like I don't care. But now they're like starting to make it. They're starting to like bring people back in because their team is so good and and so talented. So it's helping a little bit, but like they still have a little bit of ways to go.
Well, I mean, because of your podcast, I've been following this season, mainly with the Chargers. I'm just sticking. I'm not a football fan, but I can't really say I'm a Chargers fan.
Mhm.
But I'm following the Chargers games, and that first game with the Raiders was crazy. Was
Oh
very
yeah,
crazy.
that was crazy. Yeah, it came down to the wire,
Yeah, it was
and
really crazy.
but they pulled out the victory. I was surprised that they lost to Kansas City. They gave up a really I thought they did a good job defensively in the first half, and they just kind of I mean, it didn't help that their quarterback Herbert got injured, but in the second half, but uh yeah, they I still think they have a really good team and they have a good shot to go far this year. So we'll see. Hopefully they just make it past the play they make it into the playoffs. Like that
We'll
last year
see.
they
We'll
didn't.
see. Yeah, we'll see. Because I mean, there's been so many years where I'm not watching, but I'll be like hearing things like, oh, they made it to the playoffs, but then they
Mhm.
always choke.
Yeah. And that was a lot due to like Philip Rivers or something. but
Right,
uh
right.
but yeah, yeah, football's I love football, but
So you love football. Do you have you ever played football? Do you play football?
no, I've never played football. I only watch it.
Okay.
If I was to ever play, I'd probably just ride the bench. I'm too small. I'm like 5'7", so I don't know if I could really wouldn't really be too much of a of a good football player, but
Just wondering. I was just wondering because yeah, you seem to love it so much. And then another thing is you have so many hot takes every week on your podcast, or every podcast you drop. You have so many different statistics, and you go into certain players. How are you able to watch these games? Do you watch every game? Do you like set them up and watch them, or do you just like watch the highlights? Like how does that work?
I usually well, the first week of the NFL, I ended up going to a bar and just watching and I just was watching as many games as I could. And then usually I get like a I'll just see like a recap of the other games when they do a broadcast of like um at the end of the day because usually I try to watch at least the primetime games and then whatever's the best game on um in the morning or if the Steelers are on I usually try to watch them but yeah it's usually just like watching highlights and looking through social media seeing the scores, checking fantasy football does a good job of keeping me like up to date because it like lists all the players' stats. And I feel like when I do the podcast, I'm usually going off of like the scores. I just pull up my ESPN app and like go down the line and read off the scores and then say like something I might remember or something that like happened that was like significant during the game. Or um but yeah, like last week I was actually driving uh back from I went to Palm Springs for the weekend, and I have Sirius XM, so I was just listening to they have like a red zone on Sirius XM where they play any like game that is near the touchdown or like where a team's like near getting a touchdown. So it just is that's a good way for me to listen and see what's up, and they always give updates. And so that's probably one of the best ways to like keep up with all of them because like if you have all the screens in front of you, it's so hard to like I like for me I always want to watch every game, so I'm like always like looking around and
Right.
never know what to watch.
That's what I was wondering. Cause you really like go in depth and I'm like, does he watch every game? Cause that's gotta be exhausting. Like
It can be. And so
time
like
consuming.
it's very time that's why like Sundays like I do nothing on Sundays besides watch football. And yeah, it's fun. Like it's a great I mean I love it, but yeah, there are days where I'm like, man, I want to just go do something else. Or if it's a blowout game, like I'll shut it off. And I think I did that last week with the Packers versus Bears Sunday night game. I watched like literally 5 minutes of the game, and I was like, oh, this is getting out of hand. I'm gonna go like do something else. So um, I think I might have even started my podcast early that night because yeah, I try to do it every Monday. But
Okay. So you do the day before.
yeah, yeah,
That's it.
or I do it like the day. Or wait, no, is that Sunday night? I can't remember, but I do it yeah every Monday because I think that was the Sunday night game.
I got my notes mixed up. So not the Jets. You were talking about the Detroit Lions have great offense this season. That's
Oh
what it was.
yeah,
Not the I fucked that up. Sorry.
no, you're good.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. So you were talking about the Detroit Lions have a great defense this season.
yeah, I think their offense is actually like really underrated. I mean, yeah, they definitely don't have superstars on the team, but the players they have, I feel like they've done a good job drafting, at least this past year and the last 2 years. And they got guys like who are really stepping up, like Aubin Ross St. Brown. I think the rookie Williams will show up second half of the season. DeAndre Swift has been an elite running back right now. They have a great offensive line, and they have tight end TJ Hawkinson, who could be a top five tight end in the league. It's just they probably do need a better quarterback, but Jared Goff's getting the job done right now, and that's if you're a Detroit Lions fan, you should be proud of your team right now because they're doing a great job. And I love the head coach they have, and he brings so much energy that it's fun to watch. And like even if they are struggling teams, but they have a good offense, like at least it's better than having like no offense. Like the Steelers are hard to watch now because they have no offense, and it just having an offense makes things a whole lot better. So Detroit's definitely moving up there, and if you're a Lions fan, you should be excited for the years to come because they're still a young team too.
Detroit Lions, Cincinnati Browns.
Oh,
Did I
you
say
mean
it right?
Cincinnati Bengals?
Cincinnati Bengals, but what and it was Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry.
Cleveland Browns, yeah.
So Cleveland, I'm sorry, I'm screwing it
Oh,
up.
you're
So
good.
for many years, the Cleveland Browns seem to be missing something. What is your
Yeah,
take on that?
for me, I mean, it's got to be their front office. Like, I mean, I think they've done a great job of picking up talent recently, and they have the talent. Like they've really been acquiring guys. Like they acquired superstar wide receiver Amari Cooper. They have elite running backs Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. They got a decent tight end in Njoku. Their offensive line is really good, but and even their head coach has done a good job. But I just think there's something about the front office that is like it's definitely something cultural, like that. Um, in terms of just like office cohesiveness, I guess, or and bad management. But like if you compare the Steelers to the Cleveland Browns, who yes, they are like rivals, and I don't like the Browns in any sense, but like to me, what makes the Steelers better than the Browns always is that they're even if they lose to the Browns, which they did this past Thursday, uh, even if they lose to them, like I don't think they make it as far as the Browns because they just yeah their front office isn't they just haven't had a good front office, and maybe that's changing. But you know, when you're picking up players with like these kind of like ridiculous track records, like Kareem Hunt with I think he was like beating his girlfriend, or even Deshaun Watson with the sexual assault allegations. It's like there's something off about like the management when you're like picking up players who have these like scandalous backgrounds. And yes, they might have talent, but it's like I don't know, like for the good of the team, like maybe pick some I don't know, like talent that isn't like that doesn't have like records, or I don't know, but yeah, I just think their management hasn't been like great, but they definitely have improved in terms of like talent acquisition and management of the team. So, but yeah, I feel like they're
Management.
yeah management.
Management is that makes sense. People like there's one guy out here. He grew up born and raised in San Diego, but he is a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm like,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know anything, but I'm like, why? Like, why are you a Cleveland Browns fan? Like, what is it? Like, was your dad a fan? Which is probably why. Like, I have cousins who are like I have a cousin who is a Cowboys fan, and I have
Mhm.
another cousin who's a Raiders fan, and then I have another cousin who lives out here who's Chargers fan, and they all cannot like they're cool, they get along, but they cannot when it comes to sports. They just start getting angry at each
Oh
other
wow.
about who's better and what. And then like they had a bet going on. My cousin with the Chargers with that first game with the Raiders, so they had a bet going on who's going to win. And
Mhm.
one of them owes the other one dinner, and it's just like this, like, but he's bitter about it, you know. But
That's
yeah,
really funny. I yeah, I think a lot of times, especially in sports, like you have to have like some either hometown connection or family connection. Because for me with the Steelers, it's like my grandpa's a huge Steeler fan. Like I never lived in Pittsburgh or in that area. He was a fan, which made my dad a fan, and then it made me a fan. So, and I
oh,
live on the West Coast, and so it's yeah, I feel like or like maybe some people have even said, "Oh, my favorite team's like that because I like their colors." So it's like it's all these different things, and
there's different things. Yeah, colors. I've
yeah,
heard that as well. But that's interesting. So your grandpa started it. Your grandpa
mm.
is your grandpa from around there? Or why
He's
was, do you
actually
know why he was?
he's from Ohio actually, but I think he had a couple of team choices to choose from, and he was like, "I'm going with the Steelers." So
Interesting.
he's like when I say a huge Steeler fan, I mean like he's more of a Steeler fan than I am, and he like I don't know, he's like a different level of fan, and I've seen crazy fans, and even though he's not like showboatish, like doesn't go to games and like dress up or anything, but he's like he knows the team, he follows them, he like follows all their moves, he knows what's going on, and you know he's like 85, and he just loves the Steelers, and uh, he's a big sports fan, and uh, yeah, it's always fun talking with him about the Steelers.
It's awesome. Is he out in Ohio?
He's actually in he retired and moved to Sarasota, Florida,
Ooh,
so he's out living on the beach.
that's cool. That's
Hmm.
awesome. Hell yeah. With all that said, um, what was it that made you want to start a fantasy football podcast?
I feel like for me it was I just enjoyed talking about football either with like it was a way for me to, meet people, and it was kind of a barrier breaker. So like I would always bring up if I don't know if I was meeting someone new, like you have a fantasy team. Oh, like let me look at it. Oh, that you've been following them too, and like it's just a way for me to connect with people. And then I just started. I never really enjoyed. I always didn't agree with any of like the actual like experts or anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like put my own opinions out there, and because I don't agree with anybody. Like, I want to put my own take out there, and I just thought podcasting at the time was a good way to like at least put my voice out there, and uh, that's kind of why I started, was to just voice my opinions on fantasy football. But yeah, now it's turned into like kind of whatever I want it to be, and because I do get it. Like at the time, sounds like Sam. It doesn't really ring fantasy football or football or anything, which is funny. But
You're right, but
now,
I'm telling you that logo, you got something going on there, because
thank
that it's a very attractive logo. Like I just jumped to it. I had to have been why. I mean, I can't think of where I first saw you and grabbed you and started downloading your episodes.
mhm,
But yeah, and then even like I remember it was right around because it was right around when I started my podcast when the pandemic happened,
mhm,
and I remember that's when I heard um I had heard, I think the Tree Man episode was one of the first ones I heard. Or it was one of
mhm,
them, but then I went back and I started listening to some of the ones from the beginning, and the pandemic ones were the ones where you started broadcasting during the pandemic.
mhm,
It was kind of like you were like, I don't know what's going on. I was like, whoa, like, because I was kind of, we're like at the end of pandemic. So I'm like, I don't know. Because it was still kind of like that. So
mhm.
I was like, well, it was kind of scary on what if things were going to open back up. And that's when I started my podcast. And that's basically what I do now is I interview people that that's I mainly through Zoom, people that I
Mhm.
couldn't go and sit next to. But if for some reason, maybe later in the future, if you ever come back to San Diego, we got to do one. We got to do one sitting down. That'd be cool. I would like
Oh,
that.
that'd be
Like
so
that.
cool.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
I'd
great.
love to. Yeah, because I do the same thing. I'll interview people, but it's only over Zoom. I've actually done a few episodes in person, and it's so much more fun. I
Yes.
actually don't have like a setup where I can have like two, so I've literally had to. I literally would pass the microphone to the other person.
Hey, and do what you got to do. Do what you got to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that. I mean that. I'm slowly getting things together. Throughout the years, and even then, like I shouldn't afford these things, but I'm somehow finding a way to get them. Like the mics and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But
I'll say this. I didn't have for the first like probably 20 episodes or so. I was just using, I think, my like Apple headset, and you
oh,
could
okay.
barely hear me. And then like I got the and now I have a blue mic, which it was like a graduation gift. Man, it's so much better audio quality. Like if you're into podcasting, like you need a good mic. So it's actually a
Yes.
great investment, I feel like, especially for me who's like kind of on the quieter side. Like I try to edit it and it would just sound like really poor. And with this mic, my audio just sounds, I feel like, really, really good. So I love my mic. I use it during every podcast now, and uh,
I've
it's
heard
definitely worth the purchase if you're
I've heard the improvement. I've heard it. I mean, I didn't know what you were using before, but I know that whatever you're using now, it sounds a lot better for what
Mhm.
you're doing now. And your song, you don't use it anymore, but you used to use a song.
Oh,
You haven't used it, I don't think in the last couple of episodes you haven't used it, but you have a song that's very like it's very catchy. Like
does it go like throughout the whole entire episode?
it used to, but now you kind of like sprinkle it in here and there. But I feel like this last episode didn't have it. Maybe it did. I don't know.
Yeah, I've kind of I think I think I know which I've used a couple. Like I used to go off of Anchors. They have a couple of different like template audio background features or songs, and I would play. There was one called like Compton, which was kind of like it was just a kind of rap beats, and I would use that in the background, and then I would do another one that was It was like nah 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 nah
I don't
nah.
know.
And
I
but
couldn't tell you the song, but I just know that like whenever I'm listening, I'm working. Whenever I'm at work and I'm working, and I hear the like I was listening to podcasts on loop. Like it'll just go down my list of different podcasts. When the song comes on, you play it first, and I was like, oh, okay, it sounds like Sam right now. Like
oh,
I
nice.
know that's what's playing before you even talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if is it might be Burbank late. Was like a free episode or something. Nope, that wasn't. Nah, never mind. But I think I know what you're talking about now.
Right. Yeah. It's just I like it. I like the logo and the song. And you are one of the ones who have inspired me. A couple others have inspired me how to keep going with this podcast
Oh,
life.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you
That's
so
great to
much.
hear.
You have a podcast. You love football. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, that's a great question. I mean, I'd honestly like to hopefully continue the podcast. I think the podcast is evolving a little bit to I think that my goal is going to be something where maybe I do every 2 weeks a football episode, and then I'll do something like uh I've been into like writing scripts recently about just like random kind of I don't know, just random things. And I wanted to start doing more like audio short stories. Because I did one. It was called like it was for a school project, but I uploaded it to Sounds Like Sam, and it's honestly like I think it was something like a day in the life of a news anchor, and I've always just enjoyed like writing scripts and uh, audio stories, and I think that's kind of where I'm gonna start going with Sounds Like Sam is producing more of those, and uh, but yeah, five years down the road, I'd like to be back with a sports team possibly, work whether it's maybe account like working for managing accounts or possibly something in sponsorship. I'd like to do something like that for work, or if at all, like if somehow I could get like a full-time podcaster role, like I take that in a heartbeat. I mean, I've tried to like apply for ones with Believe or uh but if I could somehow grow the podcast to be profitable, that would be like a dream come true for me for sure. But it's a work in progress. We'll see how it goes, but
That'd be awesome. I mean,
that would
even like
be fant
seeing you as a sportscaster somewhere, that'd be crazy.
oh, that'd be so cool.
That'd be
Yeah, I'd
really
love that.
crazy. Okay. So I would like to open up this next segment and get your hot takes. It's kind of going off of what you do already
Mhm.
when you react to those videos, but
Oh, okay.
we're gonna do it on here, okay?
Sweet.
All right. I'm gonna share my screen with you, and I just want to get your opinion on these. Okay.
If you're going down, just go down.
Yeah, I'm still learning how to do that.
See that?
So this is Joseph
Oh, Joe Burrow,
Burrow's
yeah.
slide.
Hey, I learned from the last couple weeks. Y'all ain't hit me
See a
no
slide?
more.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing good, but remember, if
I
you're
like
going down, just
Joe
go down.
Burrow's
Yeah, I'm
like
still learning how to do
my football
that.
hero. He
Is he?
took LSU to the national championship
Did he?
like in a crazy year. So I love Joe Burrow.
Hey, I learned from the
Like
last couple
if
weeks.
he wasn't on the
Y'all ain't hit
Bengals,
me
like
no
I would love
more.
him even more. But I mean, I have I actually have his jersey. Oh wait, no, that's not true. I have Jamar Chase's jersey, but I won a Joe Burrow jersey, and I've been following him since he's been at LSU. So I've seen that video before, but that's
What do you
it's a
rate
good
that
one.
slide though? What do you rate that slide?
I'm just glad he I'm just glad he slid. To be honest, like he needs better protection from his offensive line, so he can't get hurt anymore.
Right.
To be able to. So that slide was good. I'll give it a. I'll rate it a 7 out
7.
of
Okay,
10.
so this one might be up your alley.
Oh, I know.
When he was in college at Georgia, vertical stretch the defense, make plays, incredible ball skills.
I was actually,
This
you
is
know
a
what's
guy
funny?
that's
I was
known-
meaning to make a reaction to this because I saw this. I didn't see it live because unfortunately, I was still working when he made the catch. But after I saw, like, I was scrolling through social media and I saw that and I was like, my eyes just like wide.
He like
I don't
fell
know if
on his head, like, or his head, like, it's just amazing how his body like moved around his head, like,
Yeah,
you
it was-
know, like that could be a neck or back injury, neck injury.
Yeah,
Easy.
but the fact that he made that catch, like that was an unbelievable catch. That reminded me of if you've ever seen the Odell Beckham Jr. catch where he goes like one-handed. That's like it's the catch that he's famous for. Like that's what it reminded me of. And there's even rumors that might be like nominee for best catch of the year. And it's only week 2, and he's a rookie too. So, but I love George Pickens. There's like even a meme of him like staring at his draft photo, or him. It's a picture of him watching himself getting drafted, and he's just like looking at the. If you haven't seen the meme, you gotta look for it. Just look up George Pickens meme, and I even saw a meme of him watching. It was like the meme of him watching the TV of him making that catch, and it was so funny.
Really?
It's yeah, it's
Oh, okay. I have seen it. I didn't know who that was though. Okay.
yeah, that was him. Yeah, that's him. That's the
Wait
guy
a
who made
minute.
the catch.
This one.
Yes.
I have
Yes,
seen it.
that's him.
Crazy.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's like yeah, that was an amazing photo and meme.
Okay. That's crazy. Okay. So, wow. There's George Pickens.
Mhm.
That's cool. So yeah, that's crazy. Steelers. You're a Steelers guy.
Oh
So
yeah.
here's another one. Last hot take. I want to rate this guy's whatever you call it. I don't know what you call it.
Run.
Dancing and looking and directing traffic, and look at the length of this play.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Murray to the 10, to the 5, and he's going to convert it.
Made it.
That's
Some crazy
unbelievable.
Yeah, check it out. Check it from the beginning.
Murray
Up.
running out of time, on the
So-
move, coming back this way.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Such good
Dancing and looking and directing traffic, and look at the length of this play.
Yeah, he's literally like
Murray
on his
to the
toes.
10, to the 5, and he's going to convert it. That's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
he's got to be quick.
That's
Because
crazy.
he's got that reputation of mobility, and has a good I remember he played the Rams in the first, it was probably like week 7 or something in the NFL last season, and he played the Rams, totally clobbered them, like just running the ball, and he was like the reason they like crushed the Rams in that game, and it was really looking like really dim for them. But anyways, yeah, he's got some crazy legs, and that's a funny video to show like how quick and mobile he can be.
The someone put on Twitter, someone's said Kyler Murray runs like a toddler who just stole his parents' phone. Once you see it, it can't be undone.
Yeah, I could definitely see that when he does look kind of like a toddler. He didn't move his arms. I think that was the problem.
And
Like,
he's like you said, he's on his toes. Like he has to
Yeah.
he has to be mobile. Like he's ready for the next pivot. Like which way am I gonna go?
mm-hmm.
That's
But yeah,
intense.
that is a good representation of what a toddler would look like stealing his mom's phone.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you have kids?
I don't.
Okay,
I'm single.
I have a kid. I have a 2.5-year-old, and I have one on the way. He's coming next month.
Oh,
yeah, I
nice!
know
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. But yeah, I know exactly that made me laugh. The toddler thing. The toddler,
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Heck yeah, man. So yeah, man. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate all of your everything you do. You inspire me to be a greater podcaster. You really do.
Hey, thanks, JJ.
So I want just last question real quick. Now that you said you've been doing this for 5 years now, like something like that. Now that you're a seasoned podcaster, what are some things that you have experienced in your 5 years that were unexpected, things that you weren't aware of, things that made you maybe question, or maybe even like make you more excited to do the podcast?
You know, well, at the beginning, I definitely wasn't. I was just doing it for myself to like, I just put it out there and see what happens. And I was surprised at how many. I don't really have that many listeners, but like it's definitely grown in the past couple years, and it's definitely more than I thought would listen to it. But it's not. I'm not like. Um, I think just being consistent and uh trying your best to put out like engaging content and or things that other people would like to hear would helps. But I think that's one thing I need to like. What I think that's why I started the Instagram page, at least for Sounds Like Sam, was because I have trouble marketing it, and like I thought that would be a good way for at least like to get some social reach, and which it has. Like it did do a good job, especially at the beginning. It was getting a lot more listens because I was always like, I would literally just focus on making content about like podcasting, and that like helped. But yeah, I that's one thing I need to work on is actually marketing it, because it can get like expensive doing it, but doing it with media is really uh it can be more difficult, but it's definitely like a good way to like get your podcast out there. And I've definitely tried to leverage that more recently, and that's probably a good recommendation. But yeah, I'm still using Anchor. I haven't really moved away from that, and it's been nice to like get the the Anchor sponsorship of a penny per listen, so that's been really
Right.
cool.
Right.
But that was like a recent that was only recent, like 2 years ago, I think. So like when I started, that wasn't even available, which is
Mm,
cool. That the platform itself has really grown, and that they partner. They never used to be associated with Spotify, but now like they are, and so I think it now automatically uploads uh from Anchor to Spotify, like that. So that's pretty cool that it was able to go there. But yeah, that it's been a great platform for me so far.
that's awesome. Wow. Thank you so much for everything, man. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate all your wisdom on sports. I'm following you now, and I'm gonna follow this season of football, and I'm gonna go off of your hot takes. I'm gonna go off of your just listen to your, mainly with the Charger stuff. I'm gonna focus on that and just
Oh, nice.
kind of make my own opinion, because I mean, everyone Irish Chargers fans, and I have yet to pick a team. I want my son to be into sports,
Hmm.
because we never were growing up, but I would like my son to have something, because my wife, she is a diehard. She loves soccer.
Oh,
She's
nice.
very much into soccer, and
Hmm.
she likes MLB a lot. She doesn't really
Uh,
follow it, but she likes to go to the games, and she loves live sports. So
oh,
that's something
nice.
that we do. We do, and I want my kid to be into it. So hopefully my son will be. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what he gets into. But yeah, I want to be more of a sports guy for my son.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, thank you so much, and I appreciate everything. Everything. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for your time. And hopefully we can do this again.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I'll get you on my podcast too.
Hey, that'd be awesome. That'd be amazing. Heck yeah.
Yes, we'll talk Chargers football.
That'd be
And
great. Yeah, no, hopefully I'll be a more I will be a better football fan at that time.
that sounds great. Sounds great. Well, thanks for having me on the show, JJ.
Hey, no problem, man. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.
All right.
Sounds
Same
like
with
Sam.
you, JJ.
Take care.
Hell yeah.